Shout out, shout out. The Connects. Luis Guzman. Don't ever go, never leave my side.
Yes. Welcome everybody to another edition of I Am an Artist, Not a Salesman podcast. I am your host, Luis Guzman. Episode 007, God's number, lucky number 7. We have a special guest in the building tonight. So thankful to have this guy on the podcast. And if you don't know already, I Am an Artist, Not a Salesman podcast. We focus on people's journey in business and entrepreneurship, where they got to, how they got to where they got to, and everything in between. So the guy I have today, great guy, I gotta tell you. And he goes by the name of David Zuniga. Give a big warm welcome to David Zuniga to the show.
I appreciate that.
Thank you for coming, David. You know, it's funny because I put out, first of all, we already had, this is like part 2 of the podcast because before we started filming, we already had a podcast, but you know, we're going to do it again. But David's a great guy. He's an entrepreneur. He's a family man. He's a businessman. He's got a lot to talk about. He's got a lot to say. And, you know, I started following you on social media. And I didn't know you, but we are in the same walks of life somehow, some way. We have, you know, same social circles, right? And I just said, you know what? This guy just reached out to me as I put out, you know, a story. Hey, who wants to be on the show? I personally thought this guy was too busy, but when I saw him in my messages, I was like, oh, this is great. I mean, you know, he's doing a lot and I wanted to showcase that. So I wanted to, first of all, thank you for making time to be on the show, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely,
man. Excited.
Yeah, me too, man.
I mean, right. You said it right. This is the second part of the podcast. We had a whole podcast before we started. I hope we recorded all that.
Yeah, I mean, we got a lot to cover. I mean, I'm looking at my notes here. I mean, you know, entrepreneur, co-founder of 123, buy a car, founder of am I saying that? Create?
IMM Create.
IMM Create. I got phagency.com. You have a podcast, host of the Win the Day podcast. So you're a busy guy.
Got a lot going on.
You got a lot going on. We're gonna dissect it. We're gonna get into it. But I just wanted to start off by saying, you know, how you doing? And why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself before we get into it?
I appreciate that.
A little closer to the mic.
Sure.
Move over?
Yeah, just a little bit closer. Yeah,
more?
They good?
Here?
Yep.
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
So David, tell me about yourself, man. Who is David Zuniga?
Well, Lou, first of all, thank you for having me. I really appreciate that.
Who
is
man.
David Zuniga? Such a loaded question, I feel like. I
Loaded and
feel
broad.
like I've lived so many lives, Lou. You know, you said it right before. We kind of have the same circles, born and raised in the same town.
Yes, sir.
And from the conversation we had before this conversation, we have similar backgrounds. So who is David Zuniga? David Zuniga is a born and raised Elizabeth, New Jerseyan.
Eastwick. I like it, yes.
Latino.
Absolutely.
Family man, first and foremost. Businessman. And, you know, I want to believe that I'm a person who has learned a lot from losing.
I like that.
Today, you know, everything that I am today, honestly speaking, today is completely because of all the experiences I had up until this point. I know everybody lives that way, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think that for me, it is a constant reflection on a daily basis of what I had to go through to get to this point and remembering all the nonsense that I put myself through, you know, because I don't blame anybody. I have so much that we can dive into from my childhood all the way through my adult life and the mistakes that happened throughout. But every day I remind myself of those unfortunate circumstances that have brought me to this moment.
Now, that's very powerful you're saying that, because actually one of the questions and talking points I had to ask you had to do with that direct thing. So, I mean, we're going to kind of jump off that way.
All right, let's
because you're talking about that. So one question I have for you was, you did grow up in Elizabeth, New Jersey, and now you're a successful entrepreneur in your own right? How did Elizabeth shape you in your growth? And this two-pronged question. And what lessons did you learn during your naturalization of who David is today?
Growing up in Elizabeth, I loved it. You know, I wouldn't redo it or if I could redo it, I wouldn't grow up anywhere else. And I'll tell you
Agreed.
why. We were very poor growing up, but I didn't know it. My mom was a single mom.
Same here. Wow.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry, I'm going to cut you off.
And, she did everything possible to make sure that we grew up the right way. Very tough on us, very strict, Latina.
Oh, yeah.
Strong-willed, smart. Like if she would have had the support and education that she should have gotten, she probably could have been a lawyer.
Executive.
Something.
This goes on. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But she didn't. So she did the best that she could for us, right? So growing up, we were very poor, but I didn't know it until my adult life, looking back, saying, wow, we were really poor. We were happy, and I'm grateful for the life we had. But Elizabeth definitely gave me a perspective of life that I will never forget. And today, everything that I do is really about lifting up other people because I wish that I had that growing up. Kind of filling a void that I myself had. And I'm trying to do that for others.
That's inspiring because I can relate to that story because I was in the same shoes you were in. And I feel that I'm on that same journey. I told you before we started recording, we're like spirit animals.
Yeah.
And our lives are kind of parallel, which
Sure.
is pretty awesome. Like, it's funny how God works. We're in the same room together now. But getting back to what you're saying about being poor, what was that moment for you of awakening where you actually realized like for me, I'll say it was when I had British Knights and they were calling me Burger King because it was BKs because, my mom couldn't afford Nikes. So I had British Knights and I was old enough to understand, okay, wow, damn, like how come I don't have the nice things that other guys have or other kids have in school? So what was that moment for you that you realized, wow, we're not as privileged as others?
I don't think I had a moment per se where I was like, wow, we're poor as a kid. It wasn't until I was like 14 or 15 years old, I started working.
What was your first job?
So when, I don't know if you remember when Jersey Gardens first opened.
Absolutely. We all worked there.
But Toys R Us opened.
Yes.
There was a place called Jeepers.
Jeepers. I do remember that.
Safari
Holy
hat.
cow, I remember that. Wow.
I worked there.
Come on.
I was the guy in the carousel.
Get out of
Yeah,
here.
it was a carousel. I'd let you on.
That's where I remember you from. No, just joking.
So yeah, I worked there. But, and then I had other jobs, models and all that stuff.
Right.
But I never stopped working from that age. And I remember working and saying, I'd make a few $100s a week and going to my mom and saying, hey, can I help you financially? And she never took money from me.
Never.
Never.
Wow.
But I remember at that moment thinking back, like, because now I have money. And when you have a little bit of money and it takes a little bit to earn that money, it's hard for you to give up that money.
Let go of it. I hear you.
But when you're growing up, you ask for everything as a kid because you don't know
You
what
don't
money's
understand the power behind it.
like. Right.
Yeah.
And so I started to reflect on like the meals we would have. White rice and ketchup, many times.
I've been there.
Many times. Or just going to bed hungry many times. And so it didn't hit me until that age where I was like, wow, we didn't really have much. It was me and my two brothers and my mom, and we're sleeping in one room. We don't have heat. We don't have hot water for many winters, and my mom would hate me for saying that publicly.
Okay.
But it's a story.
It made you.
It made me.
It made you.
And I say that now. I don't feel embarrassed about it. I got to be honest with you. I have the biggest chip on my shoulder because in my mind, it doesn't matter how much I ever amass. It doesn't matter how much success I feel like I have. In my mind, I'm still a poor kid from Elizabeth. And I don't think that'll ever go away. And I don't think it's a negative.
No, it's part of the makeup.
Yeah, I have this saying that I kind of live by. It's get mad.
Yes.
And I don't mean it like a get angry. I mean like you grew up poor, get mad and do something about it so that your kids never have to go through that. You didn't have a dad or you had a bad dad and so your mom was a single. I'm speaking about myself, right?
Yeah.
So you didn't have a good family life growing up. Get mad and never allow that generational curse to impact your family, your wife, your children, your siblings. Level everybody up. And so that whole upbringing changed my entire perspective. But I didn't learn that until later in my life because I was going down the same path.
You were repeating the generational
100%.
cycle. How were you doing that? In what ways?
So, I grew up in a very rough neighborhood, poor, like I said before. My mom had to deal with a lot of domestic abuse and things like that. I had to overcome a lot. And so, I got married very young. A lot of things that we're going to talk about right now, a lot of people don't know about.
Brother, if you want to share,
unless they know me, but I want to share it because
please.
I think
it could help somebody else.
Yes,
and it's therapeutic.
100%.
Absolutely. Sorry to cut you off.
The people that are close to me know what I'm about to share with you. So I got married young, and I didn't do the right things. I made the wrong choices.
21, 22.
I was about 23 years old.
23. Okay.
Didn't know anything about anything. Nobody ever taught me how to be a man, what it means to be a father, what it means to be a husband. And so I had my first child early, and I made all the wrong decisions. And for me, it didn't affect me at the time. Later in my life, I realized the mistakes that I was making. But a lot of times in life, it's too late. The damage is already done. And that isn't necessarily the end, because there is nothing that you can't overcome so long as you're learning from it. You can repair a lot of
damage control.
Yeah, you can do a lot of damage control so long as you're self-aware. And so I think a lot of times, and for me this was huge, is I had an awakening one day, and it was...
How old were you?
I was...
In the awakening?
Mid-30s.
Mid-30s.
This wasn't too long ago.
34, 33-ish? Okay. I'm following you. I just want to have a timeline.
Yeah.
All right.
And so this part of my life, everybody knows about. Okay, that knows
Bring
me.
it on.
And it brought me a lot of heat. It brought me a lot of backlash. People turned their backs on me.
Really?
Yes. And it taught me a lesson about a lot of things. But the first one it taught me was this. It made me look at myself in the mirror and say, David, it's time to grow up. It's time to say, you know what? I don't want my life to be this, what I've seen in the generations before me. I don't want my legacy to be one of, bad stories, terrible memories, not having a family that loves or adores you, or leaving impact behind positively. I was literally telling this to one of my partners, Felipe, yesterday. I was saying, everything that I do now, every decision I make is about how this is going to impact the people that are watching and depending on me.
And your family.
Yes, but it doesn't stop with your family, right? We live in a day and age where everything you do, people are watching.
It's visible.
It's visible on social media. Social media can be a front. You can put stuff out there that isn't real. Or
it could be a tool.
It can be a tool. If you're transparent, if you're real, if the way you live off camera is the same way you live on camera, it can impact lives. And you can literally change the way people view, their mindsets, the way they live, everything. And so for me, it was about self-awareness, saying, David, how can you change your life? And it took a year-long journey of self-reflection and self-awareness to say, you know what, where do I have to mend? Where do I have to heal? Where do I have to learn in order to be the man that I want to be in all areas of my life? And that was in my finances, in my business, in my family, with my children, with my peers, with my friends. Every part of that was broken.
Do you feel that you were unconsciously replaying trauma from your childhood and projecting it in your life and not noticing it?
I think I was in denial. I thought that I was above it.
You thought you were untouchable.
Right. It didn't impact me. It didn't affect me.
So what was that breaking moment where David broke down and said, wow, this is real. I got to change. What was that moment like?
Transparent moment. Me and my wife had separated for a year. And that could have destroyed me and my family and my kids. And I wouldn't be sitting here.
And create that cycle.
Continue the cycle. Because I was already in the cycle.
Yeah, it would continue the generational cycle.
And bro, when I tell you that God was present because,
Amen.
And we were talking about this off camera.
Yeah, absolutely.
We read, we learn, we listen to sermons, we read scripture. But when it is time to apply that scripture into your life or to apply it to others, sometimes we don't do it, right? And so I'll give you an example. We read about Moses in the desert 40 years, and really the story behind that, the lesson behind that is he had to learn some things in the desert that was my desert, year long. And something
That's a
that
powerful
should have
analogy.
been, that should have destroyed me and destroyed my wife and destroyed my children and probably their families down the line, didn't. Because right before we were going to divorce each other, we reconciled.
Wow.
And we have never been the same since, for the better.
It's been powerful ever
It's
since.
been incredible. Our marriage is better than ever. And it was due, and I say this to her all the time, we talk about it all the time. It was due to that year apart because we were unknowingly, because we weren't talking to each other. It was that bad.
Right. Jeepers.
Unknowingly, we were both working on ourselves, self-awareness, self-reflection, God. And that was powerful. That was a powerful moment in our lives, and we haven't looked back since.
Yeah, because you have to, in my experience, love yourself whole before you can love somebody else. You can't depend on the partner to be, if you're at 70%, she can't give you 30.
Right.
You got to be 100. She's your helper, biblically.
Yeah.
You're the leader of the household. You are going to take control and do what you got to do. But if your wife is not doing her duty and you're not doing yours, it doesn't fit because you have to be whole first together. And I feel like this soul searching, so to speak, that you went through in this year or so, it really transformed who you were because you already knew what you had to do. You just didn't want to do it.
I think we all do. And I think that, and this is a fantastic topic. I am so laser focused into pouring into other men right now about this, especially Latinos, minorities. This is something that we don't talk about.
We don't talk about it enough.
We don't talk about it
No.
enough. It is super cool and easy. Honestly, it's unfortunate, but it's too easy to quit and say, you know what, it didn't work out. I give up. Now you got a broken family, generationally, it has huge impact on those children, their education, their finances, the way they live life. In other cultures and other races, that's not an issue.
That's
Family life is very important.
It's standard.
It's standard.
It's standard.
It's just the way it's done.
Yes.
But for us, it isn't. And so I didn't realize that until, honestly, I went through it.
Now, let me ask you this, David. Do you feel that, and I feel this, I want to see what your take is. You figured it out. You got out of the cycle, right? You started you have your family, you're a leader, you're a businessman, you're an entrepreneur, you're doing it every day, you're putting in the work, you're getting mad, you got the discipline. Do you feel that it's our superpowers as kids that were unfortunate growing up in, poverty-stricken areas, that we actually take that and we build it into something successful? I feel like that's a superpower that we have. We have it, but we don't really, a lot of people don't use it because they haven't discovered it yet. But you're talking about the standard family that has a, mother, father, and a dog, whatever the case is, big house and whatever.
Yeah.
But they don't have no push, right? Unless, they're put in that position. We had to get the push.
Yeah.
We had to get the grit. We had to get the steam. Do you feel like us coming from this, poverty-stricken areas have given us that superpower to be leaders in our families, in our households, and in our businesses?
I think it takes a certain type of person to recognize the issues at hand and recognize when you're the issue and not victimize yourself, because it's unfortunate. Statistically, what we're talking about is not the norm. Statistically, the norm is walking away.
Yeah.
And we know that because there are how many single mothers you meet, how many single mothers exist, and how many families are broken in the minority homes. It takes a certain type of person to say, I don't want this. I don't want this for my family, and I don't want this for the future. The problem is that we haven't normalized the opposite, which is, where is the issue? Where is the missing link in our family life for minorities? Why is it so easy for us to walk away? When did that happen? Somewhere along the line, we missed it and we never regained it. So it takes us, right, to stand in the gap, so to speak, and say, guys, there's a better way. And it's not easy, and it's going to take work. And it's going to take a renewal of the mind every single day. I was literally having this conversation with my wife the other day.
Wow,
she said,
man.
What changed? What changed in you? You're literally a different man today than you were. And listen, I was a youth pastor.
Yeah, that's another thing I didn't know.
Bro,
You went from youth pastor to figuring your life out and then having this renewal.
Yes. I went from
Please
the
explain
top,
that.
okay? I was winning. I was winning in business, spiritually, ministerially. I was winning. Everybody knew me. I was in a part of everything that was going on in that world. And I had a falling from grace. But the reality is that I didn't have a falling from grace. I was never that person. It was a front because I was living a lie. The reason I know that I can say that today is because it wasn't real. I didn't have a self-awakening inside of me. There was no renewal of my mind. I was literally putting a Band-Aid on the issues by not addressing them.
And you were doing certain other things to kind of cope with them.
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
Busy work.
Yes.
Making it look and feel like I'm doing the right things, but not putting in the real work, the dirty work that it takes to really build up from the ground.
And that discovery you had within yourself, your renewal, did you have somebody help you? Was it therapy? How did you get to that place where you snapped out of it?
Rock bottom, bro. It was.
What does rock bottom look
rock
like?
bottom for me was I am living in my brother's attic. Okay, I have a home of my own, but my wife won't speak to me. My children are mad at me, and I'm living in my brother's attic at 33 years old. Let's say at 34 years old. People have turned their back on me. Rightfully so. What am I doing with my life and how am I going to get myself out of here? So there's two options there. That's a fork in the road, right? I'm going to choose the work and it's not going to be easy. And people are going to talk and have opinions about who you are forever now. That's okay. But I'm going to do the work and do whatever it takes to make it back. Get mad. Or
Yes. Is that where it came from, the get mad philosophy,
Yes.
when you were in your brother's attic?
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
Or this is just the cards I was dealt and it's not my fault and so did this and so I did that. And you know what it is and I move on. And I try to recreate a different life or start over. And that was not acceptable to me. Somebody has to be the person who says, you know what? You can make it back. And I say this to my kids. I have 5 kids.
God bless.
Thank you.
Wow.
My oldest is 19 years old. Then I have a 16 and 15.
He or she, the 19.
He.
He's watching every move you're making, man.
They all are.
Yeah, you are the head of the house.
They all are. And so, and they'll tell you, if they were here, they would tell you. I am so transparent with my ups and my downs, with my wins, but especially with my losses. Why? Because nobody ever told me when I was growing up, bro, you're going to lose. You're going to make mistakes, man. But guess what? You can still make it back.
It's part of life.
It's part of life.
It's part of life.
How you deal with those losses is so much more important than the winning and the losing. Winning matters, absolutely. But it's a reality of life that you will lose, and how you deal with the loss is so much more important.
It's profound you say that, because me and my partner Hector always say this in business and in life. The curveball's coming.
Sure.
You get comfortable hitting fastballs that are right down the plate. Those are easy. But when you're attacked with that curveball and you tense up a little bit, I don't know what to do now. Should I swing? Should I not swing? That's the defining moment that defines who your character is as a person.
Yeah.
How are we going to get out of this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like the Rocky speech. You get up, you get beat down, but you got to keep getting up and keep fighting.
That's it.
No matter what. There is no quitting.
Yeah.
There is, me and him have this, me and my partner, we have this thing. We say, be resourceful. There is no failure. Failure is not an option. You know, we're going to get through whatever storm we're getting through because we're resourceful, you know? And I feel like with you, it's the same thing. You have shown me in this couple minutes that you're a resourceful person. And you made that connection when you hit rock bottom and you transformed that. And I think and correct me if I'm wrong, I think you're taking all the negative and you're fueling it to positive.
Yeah.
Whatever you feed grows. You said that. And I feel like that's so powerful in any aspect of life. You know, muscles hurt before they grow.
Bro, you stole my words. I was literally going to say, I go to the gym. You go to the gym, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You got to do the reps.
Got to do it.
You got to do the reps.
You can't avoid it.
Right. You can't avoid. But if you do the reps for long enough, you're going to be able to do more weight, higher reps, whatever you're trying to achieve, you're going to be able to grow your muscle and your capacity. It's the same thing with life.
And that's the thing too. I get deep into this stuff, so I'm gonna sound nerdy now, but I feel that. Well, I don't feel that. This is what I know. The problem is you get the trauma from childhood. You've seen your mother work hard, single parent mom, ketchup and rice every day. all that stuff, our first 7-8 years of our lives, our minds are VCRs. We're recording everything we see. And then when you're an adult and you don't know where your trauma's coming from and something bad happens, you resort back to the child,
That's right.
the 7-8-year-old David that
true.
didn't know how to handle certain things. So life as a adult is continuously working that muscle of adulthood and not letting your inner child get the best of you, because the child wants to run away. The child wants to, cheat on his wife. The child wants to get drunk at a nightclub. The child wants to do drugs.
Bro, you're preaching right now.
The adult wants to do the right thing.
But that's hard.
So yeah, it's hard. It's the constant seesaw effect.
Yes.
So the reason I'm bringing all this up is because you have mastered or are mastering the seesaw effect of being a responsible adult, a capable adult, and we didn't have a blueprint or a map. I don't know what it was like to be married. You didn't know what it was like to be married. We didn't have father figures.
Right.
We had to figure this roadmap out ourselves. So how do you use all of that and put it into your life now in a positive way? Do you have your moments where you fall from grace? Are you tired? Are you stressed out? Do you want to give up? What's that like?
Every day. Every day. I want to get, bro. I feel like I am the busiest person I know, right? I from the moment I
hear
wake
you.
up, and I'm like you, I wake up at the crack of dawn.
Yep.
And I don't go to bed till 12:30 working.
Sheesh.
Okay. I have 5 kids. I have a wife.
Yeah, you got.
I have like 4 jobs. All right. I do a lot. I'm blessed to do it. I'm thankful and grateful to do it. But every single moment of every single day, it is a conscious effort. And I got to tell myself, David, and I was literally telling Felipe this too.
Yeah.
He's off camera, but
Yeah,
I was literally telling
we'll talk to
him
him in a
this.
minute.
I bounce a lot of stuff off him. I literally was telling him, like, I do it because if I do not game plan my day and my life, my human nature, my flesh, what I knew, I'm wired in a way where I will fail. I will get in my own way. I will be to my own detriment. I will lose
The child.
the child.
The child
And
wants
so,
to play.
Right. The moment that I am not thinking, planning, thinking of the legacy, the moment I stop doing that, it's over. It's over. It's all over. It will all crumble down because everything in me wants to do the opposite. And that's real.
Yeah. And you
it's
struggle with that every day.
every day.
Have you ever fallen from that and picked yourself right back up?
So thank God, by the grace of God, since that year, no, I haven't. I've been laser focused. But a few things happened to me since then that have focused me even more. And I gotta share it with you.
Please do.
So my father was in and out of my life. Okay, was with us till about 10 years old, and he was gone. I didn't see him again until my mid-20s. I was very angry. I was very bitter. There was a lot of parts of me that were just like him, angry and volatile, and would run away when any confrontation would ever happen. A lot of the stuff you discuss, it's like you knew my life.
I told you, it's
Crazy.
parallel.
But he passed away.
Oh, I'm
Recently,
sorry, man.
right?
Jesus.
Recently. And thank
Oh
you.
my
I appreciate
God.
that. He passed away recently. And it pained me to watch him, a grown man, cry the way he did. It's a shame. And regret so much on his deathbed. It pained me. And what it did was it really did refocus me again to say this unfortunate circumstance is not what you want. I don't want to be 80 years old, 85 years old, 90 years old, regretting the decisions I made. I don't. I want to be celebrated. And I want to be
Absolutely.
proud of the legacy I live. And so that takes winning the day. That's why my podcast is Win the Day.
Win the Day.
Focus on today. Don't worry about tomorrow. Don't worry about what happened yesterday. It's
Tackle
over.
today.
Win today. If you do that enough over the course of your life, you're going to look back on your life and you're going to have a lot of wins. Daily wins become weekly wins, become monthly wins, become yearly wins, and then forget about it. You had a fantastic life.
Snowball effect.
Right. So I worry about nothing that has nothing to do with today.
You focus on today, one step at a time, one day at
Right.
a time, 1 hour at
I
a
don't
time.
waste an ounce of energy on something that is not impacting today.
Right now.
That's it.
Wow. I mean, you threw me off with this story. I mean, your father reconciliating with you on his deathbed, so to speak. Did that give you any type of closure or peace?
So it's funny. I've talked about that topic so many times with different people. I reconciled my relationship and who my father was to us at a very early age, and I mourned him for many years. My mother would tell you, like I cried and I mourned and I hurt, and it hurt me for a long time when I was young. So when this happened later in life, I had nothing left. Literally, it was like, and it's hard for people to understand this because it sounds very
Numb, jaded,
cold and jaded, but it is my reality. By the time that this came to my life, I had already mourned his death, and that was profound to me as a man, as a father, as a husband, that I would never want that type of legacy for myself. It's tough. It's a tough pill to swallow, but it is a reality.
That is, I'm got like goosebumps because I was just talking about this with my wife the other night, and what you're saying resonated with me. My father, same story, wasn't around. Thankfully, he's still around, and I was able to speak to him about how he made me feel, and we're good now.
Good.
Like, cry it out, talk it out, we're good. But I was watching a special on DMX on HBO, and he was talking to his son that he neglected his whole life. His son's like 21 years old now. And he's telling him, I'm sorry I was in your life, etc. And his son's crying. I'm watching this. I just start bawling because I feel so bad for him. And, for my father and for your father, because they had the opportunity to be there for us and they weren't. So that conversation of telling your son, I'm proud of you, but I wish I could have been there, must be so hard as a father to say to his son.
Sure.
And now we have the opportunity as fathers to be there in our kids' lives day in and day out and not have to apologize for being absent, but to be thankful that you're being celebrated because your son and your daughter see you every day.
Yeah.
So I look at that and I'm like, that's powerful. That's like, we have the superpower.
And that's winning the day. Because
Exactly.
that goes in every area of your life, in your physical, in your spiritual, in your family life. Literally, you have the time to do all of those things. But in our minds, I think that we overwhelm ourselves with, I got to get all these things done. If you live in the moment, like every interaction, it doesn't have to be a 3-hour conversation with your son or daughter. It can be an impactful 15-minute conversation.
Yes.
And they know that you're there. I have a friend who's Premium Pete on social. He's awesome.
I seen you post something from him today.
He says something, and it's amazing. He says presence over presence, right? Your presence in their lives over gifts.
It's powerful.
It is, because a lot of times as parents, we see it all the time. Like, you try to mask your shortcomings with gifts and hope that they're okay. But no kid is ever going to say, thank you for that PS5 that you gave me when I was 14 years old. What they are going to say is, you didn't come to my baseball game. You weren't there when I needed you.
My graduation.
Yeah. When I came to talk to you, you didn't have time for me. Those moments are impactful. And so when I talk about win the day, I mean tucking my kids into bed, and having that conversation, seeing them in the morning, calling them and saying, hey, papi, what do you need from me? Those are moments that you are winning. And if you do that for long enough with your children, with your spouse, with your business partners, with everybody that you're with in every part of your life, you're gonna win your life. And for me, that's my only focus. So yes, to answer your question, long way around, every day I struggle with my flesh. Every day I struggle with my mind. Every day I struggle with distraction and this and that. But it is that fear almost of losing in those areas that keeps me focused.
That is, I'm just beside myself now because I thought I was the only one that thought like that.
Yeah.
And to hear it from somebody else, it makes it feel real. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you telling your story and sharing those, very, very deep parts of your life, it gives me a little bit more solace because I'm like, okay, I'm not the only one on the boat.
Sure.
I'm not the only one that deals with struggle. I'm not the only one that deals with heartaches or poverty, whatever the case is, but there's a way out. And we have been guided that way. And now the true test, win the day, like you say, I feel like my interpretation of win the day from what you're saying is everything is a challenge. Waking up, got to beat that. Going to the gym, got to win that. Kissing my kids goodbye, got to win that. Kissing my wife goodbye, got to win that. Every small increment of the day is a win or loss situation. And we decide if we want to win or lose.
So I was having a conversation with my 8-year-old. I have twin 8-year-old boys, Noah and Jonah. They're
Busy
amazing.
house, man.
They're amazing. My children are amazing, and it's a testament to my wife. But I was having this conversation with my with my twin boys, and we were talking about winning and losing. And I talk about winning all the time. And I told them, I said, you're not always going to win everything. It's not realistic. But the wanting to win, the doing the work to win, the process of winning is what's important. Because if you do all of those things, you're putting yourself in a position to win. Right?
Absolutely.
So if you're an athlete, I used to play baseball.
Me too.
If I practice hard, if I eat right, if I'm maintaining my body and my mind, and I'm watching the film, I'm doing all the right things, I'm putting myself in a position where no matter what comes at me on the field, I'm prepared. If I do not, when that position and when that curveball comes, I'm not ready for it. I buckle and I'm out. Or I'm not ready to go to my left because I haven't been practicing, and so I'm not quick on my feet. Same thing in life. If I am not doing the things to get ready for the obstacles that come or prepare myself for the win, you're not going to win. So it is not always about winning and losing. You're going to lose, but it is the preparation of winning that matters. Because the day comes that you lose, you're prepared for the loss. You can deal with the loss. You can overcome the loss.
And that's what I think is wrong with society today, is that they fall in love with the winning, but not the preparation.
Nobody wants to talk about it.
Nobody.
Right.
Nobody talks about Kobe shooting 1,000 shots in practice and then going out there and throwing 60 up.
That's an interesting thought, man. People love, even in that Kobe reference you just made, right? I see memes like that all the time. Mm-hmm. Or Jordan, there's memes about I've missed more shots than I've made, stuff like that. And that's great. We talk about it with celebrities and superstars and athletes and all that stuff. But what about in your life, in a practical sense? Let's talk about the struggles. Like it isn't comfortable to share the things I just shared with you.
No, it takes a lot of courage.
But what I know is this: there are a lot of men out there, minorities. I'm specific to minorities. I know you have other types of
but we talked about this on the phone, so I wanted to get to that. So
it's super important to me in this part of my life because I wish I had it. I feel like we don't talk about it because in our minds we're not men if we're talking about our vulnerabilities, where we're weak, where our shortcomings are. And I feel like, at least with Latinos, we're very macho. And we grow
Machista.
up. Yeah. We grow up thinking like, I'm not supposed to cry. I'm not supposed to be vulnerable. I'm not supposed to talk about my weaknesses. It makes me less than. And it is the complete opposite. I feel so confident in myself as a man. I know my wife is proud to walk by my side today, no matter what we've been through. My children love me. They're proud to have me as their father. And all of that comes from vulnerability. Being honest. This is where I failed because I don't want you to fail. So I'm going to tell you my story to my children. Babe, this is where I am struggling. I need your help. It's okay to do that. But it's because we don't talk about the free throws, right? We don't talk about the practice. In our lives, we don't talk about the mental toughness, the mindset that it takes, the talking about, hey, this is where I'm struggling, the self-awareness that it takes in order to overcome the issues. And so I think it's to our detriment as men, especially minorities, that we don't have these conversations. That's why I do it.
How can minorities change that?
By talking about it. I think the only way to overcome that,
have the conversation.
We're doing it.
Have the conversation, right? Like, let's get into the weeds on the yucky things.
Like, bro, it is hard. Life is difficult. And when the difficulties come, you can quit and throw your hands in the air and say, it was too hard for me. Marriage is too hard. You know how many times I've thought like, I can leave here and be okay.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
That's just real.
Yeah.
But I'd rather go through it. Let's mend this. I'm not going to bed angry with you, right? Me and my wife, we used to have full-blown blow-ups that would last weeks.
Wow.
We wouldn't talk to each other. They would get ugly. That used to be our norm. Today, I can't go to bed mad at you. Because it's not any good for you and me. It's not good for our marriage. It's not good for our kids. It's not good for the vibe of the house, the peace of the house. So let's fix this. That's hard.
Yeah, it's hard because nobody wants to sit there with it and deal with it. I once heard marriage is like you bring your crap to the front yard, I bring my crap to the front yard, and we got to figure it out.
Right.
We can't sell it. We can't burn it. We can't throw it away. We got to figure it out.
Family is a microcosm and a small example of life. Like, again, I have these conversations all the time, and it's funny you bring this out of me.
No, this is great. This
But
is great.
if you have a business is very much like your family. Like, you have business partners, you got to make it work. You have, clients, they're like your children, right? How can people follow you as a leader if your other places, if your family's out of order, your house isn't in order, nothing's going right, you're physically unfit, you're mentally unstable? Who's following you? You gotta have all of these things in order to be an effective leader. And I think the only way to do that is to be real with your struggles. But I think that social media has made it so we only show our wins, we never show our losses. We don't talk about the stuff that it takes. And I get it. Nobody wants to talk about that stuff. It's too heavy, it's too real. I don't want to deal with that. I want to be distracted. But that is where we are in life. There's not enough people talking about the weeds.
And I think it's because ignorance is celebrated. I think people like to celebrate the ignorance because it's an easy way to, kind of deter away from what the problem really is. Yeah. And that's going back to your point about Latinos and minorities not really discussing their vulnerabilities. It's because it's better to just F you, I don't want to talk about it, let me smoke a blunt.
Yeah.
That's easier. So, and it's celebrated in culture, in society. Even when we were younger, our fathers, they were looked at as superheroes because they would drink and go out and cheat on our moms and do all this stuff because ignorance was celebrated.
Yeah.
But now we're turning that. So we have to understand, we got to let go of the ignorance because the vulnerability is the maturity. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So you're doing great on that. But how can we impact everybody? Does it take 1 million conversations like this?
Yes.
To see a change?
Let's talk about like pop culture, right? Where in pop culture does a 14-year-old kid see healthy marriages, and it's cool to have a healthy marriage, or it's cool to respect women, or it's cool to be honest or do the work? It's very uncommon for younger people to see examples today, and it's hard for them to see these examples and say, you know what, I aspire to that. And again, I don't mean to make it about race, but we have to, and this is in business and in life. I read a lot, like you, and I study business. I have my whole life. And today I'm prepared to run successful businesses because I did the studying of businesses that are successful and what they did to be successful. You can use that same thought process with families. If I look at white America, right, and what they've done to be successful in business and in life.
It's the same model.
It's the same model. They have dinner together. They talk about their issues. What's going on, little Jimmy? In school, how was your day? And let's talk about it. And let's do life together. I'm going to be at your ball game. You're important to me. We're not getting divorced.
Yeah, we're figuring it out.
We're
normalizing normal.
Right. So those kids grow up with an upper hand, with an advantage.
And confidence.
And for us, this is normal. Chaos, anger, violence, divorce, single moms, single parents.
I think that's what we've done as minorities is like normalize this.
It's okay.
Yeah.
And it becomes okay. And it just becomes the way we live life.
Right. And it's also it's a systematic thing, right? I mean, you're talking about racism. I think it's systematic where why is there fast food, laundromats, liquor stores, chicken shacks, all in a mile radius where these, poverty-stricken areas are? And there's hard to find a library.
Yeah.
It's hard to find a vegan restaurant. It's like they kind of put you in this like playground to continue the generational curse.
Yes.
And no one is doing, besides us, but no one's really doing nothing to really flip it on its head.
Well, yeah. And I don't think there's enough voices saying, look, there's an alternative. You don't have to live like this. A lot of that, though, is going to be something that you have within you. nobody can do the work for you. Like I can bring you to the gym.
You got to push up.
But I can't do the push-ups for you.
Yeah.
You know, we were talking about that off camera. Like you can read all about doing push-ups, but at some point you got to do the reps. The same thing goes for life. Like you can read all about what a family is like and being in a healthy marriage or being a good husband or being a good father is like. But at some point you got to do that work. And that is the part that unfortunately a lot of our people are not willing to do. The hard work that it takes, which is why you get stuck in a rut financially, in your career, in your family, in any part in your fitness.
And then it brings you lower and lower, and the hole gets deeper and deeper.
Right. And it's hard to get out of there. But it all starts here, Lou.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy, David, is that I feel that Latinos in particular, I mean, we're talking about minorities, but let's focus on Latinos. I think it comes down to Latino men have to hold other Latino men accountable.
Yeah.
And I think there's no accountability at all. And sometimes that means having hard conversations, difficult conversations. Hey, I know you have a gambling problem. Don't go to Atlantic City. I love you, bro. I don't want you to lose your money. The easy thing is to say, yo, we out. Let's go. You know what I mean?
But it's not my problem.
Or it's not my problem. Exactly. So more accountability within men. I mean, it's like, you know, the kingdom men thing, right? You got to build kingdom men. Mm-hmm. We have to hold each other accountable. We have to fellowship. We have to tell you when you're doing wrong and when you're doing right. Oh, that's a nice car, but, you know, why are you paying your bills late? Let's talk about it. You know, like, let's really get, and I feel like when minorities start to do that, you'll see a ripple effect. And it's happening now, but it's a slow start.
Well, it's what you're doing now, Lou, with this podcast. It's what you're doing on social media. It's what I'm doing on social media. It's funny because most people will not listen or follow or support until you're popping off, until you've hit a certain level of success, right? Mm-hmm. And then when you do hit that certain level of success, then you have a little bit more appeal, and the content you're putting out there is going to be distributed more and reshared and liked and all that stuff. And it's funny how human nature is, though. You have to be able, and this is answering your question, accountability, yes. But more than that, it's showing people that it can be done, that it is possible. Here's where I started, and these are all the issues that I put on myself, and this is how I got myself out of it. And I'm going to show you how to do it, and it doesn't matter where you come from. I grew up like you grew up, but it is possible. But you have to put the work in, accountability.
Here's the proof.
Here's the proof.
Yeah,
on a daily basis. I'm going to post about it. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to be in your face about it every day until you do something about it. And that is not popular because it doesn't give you the warm and fuzzies, because it puts a mirror in your face and like, shit.
It's you
if he's doing it, then I can do it. I have no excuse. He looks like me. He talks like me. He's the same.
But that's also motivating.
It
inspires people. Yeah, because it inspires me. Yes. You know, even me where I'm at in my life, I see a video you put up. I'm like, I'm inspired. I want to do this. I want to do. It's like us helping each other along the way. Mm-hmm. And I think that we are the building blocks right now, you and me. And it's going to keep paving the way for more people like us to talk that and to inspire and to educate and to motivate, but more importantly, hold accountable.
And that's why it's important that we live our lives off camera the same way that they are on. So if we have an opportunity to help people, put people on, give people a voice, that we do so, because that is the only way that people buy in. You can talk about until you're blue in the face. Like, we got to change culture. We got to change the mindset. We got to change. It isn't until you help other people change that other people are affected and impacted, and that mindsets really, truly end up changing. You can change people's path by simply saying, I believe in you. I think that you can do more, and you are capable of more than even you believe. And here's what I see in you, X, Y, and Z. And I'm going to help you do it.
Action brings the most influence.
Words aren't enough. It really takes, hey, bro, like, can we get together? Hey, bro, I want to help you build that business. I want to help you with these ideas.
Instead of going against, let's work with. Let's work collaboration. Let's be in
it's
collaboration.
Insane. You know what's interesting to me? I'm in a very competitive industry. in the car business.
Car business.
Very,
We're gonna get into all that. I know we might have to do 2 parts of this.
we might have. But recently, people that should be my competitor, we are
Collaborating.
talking, we're collaborating. We're bouncing different ideas and notes, off of each other. And it shouldn't be that way, in theory. But it is, because, bro, there's enough to go around. We can all win. Mm-hmm. And I believe it. Like, bro, I want your podcast to blow up.
Thank you, man. Likewise.
Exactly.
Likewise, man. Absolutely.
Why not?
We all win in the end. We all help each other.
That's it. Because if you win, I win. You're bringing up the culture. You're helping people. You're developing mindsets. You're inspiring people to win. That's important. That should be the baseline of everything that we're doing.
Dude, from your mouth to God's ears,
Let's
man.
do it.
Seriously, I really, wow. That we just went through a lot in such a short. And I love it. It's powerful, man. I think it's, again, parallel lives. I think you and me are very similar in a lot of ways, and I think that's why the conversation is so good.
Yeah.
But I want to get to know you a little bit more better.
Okay.
So we got a reoccurring segment here on the show. It's called Mastermind Questions.
Okay, cool.
So it's not a lot. Don't have to sweat. No, it's just 8 questions that I think build off what we were just talking about.
Okay.
So, I'm going to run through them with you, and you let me know what we got, okay? The first question is, what book have you read that inspired you the most?
Wow. I'm a big reader.
You told me that before. Yes,
Yeah.
I'm interested to hear
I read a lot of books.
The book.
There are 2 books that stick out to me. The first one is Think and Grow Rich.
Think and Grow Rich. Beautiful
by Napoleon
book.
Hill.
Yes.
And that book I've read it a few times, and it is all about mindset. I know people read the title and they think, all right, this is going to be a step-by-step way.
My wife loves that book.
Yeah, for success. And it really is about mindset and the way you think, verbalizing it, walking in it, and materializing it in your life. It all starts in your mind.
Making it real.
Making it real. But everything that happens in our lives starts in our mind. It starts with an idea, no matter what you do. And then you walk into that idea.
Make it a reality.
So that's the first one.
Nice.
The second one is a book called Tuesdays with Maury.
Tuesdays with Maury. Never heard that one. What's that about?
Book, man. It's a book about a man who is on his deathbed, basically. And it resonates with me for obvious reasons.
Right.
But it is, again, a book about reflection and life and how you can cultivate a life that impacts. You can live forever. And I say this to my kids, and they're like, how? You can live forever with the legacy that you live and that you leave behind. You can impact generations. The greatest man I've ever known in my life is my grandfather. And he was kind and intelligent and strong. He was everything I want to be. I've never seen the guy had a bad day in his life, right? And that guy is still impacting lives. He's impacting my children's lives that he's never met by the way he lived his life. And that book is very much relatable to that thought. And
you live your life through those 2 books you just told me.
I do.
The system, the mindset, and the legacy. So I can see where the influence comes from. I got to check that one out, man.
You're going to love it.
Yeah, seriously.
It's a short read, but it's...
No, I want to check it out. Yeah. So was it Tuesdays with Maury?
Yeah.
I'm going to check it out. What person in your life has brought you the most influence?
My wife. And I'm not just saying this.
It's like the program answer when you're a husband.
That was an easy question. That was a layup.
Why is that?
She's the toughest person I've ever known in my life. Tough on me, tough on people around her. Smart, holds me accountable. I am a better man because I chose the right wife.
Amen. I feel the same way.
And there were moments in my life when I didn't feel this way. And there were moments in my life when I said verbally the opposite of what I'm saying right now.
Wow.
But I was a weaker man. I was a dumber man. I didn't have the right perspective. I was a victim in my own mind of what she was trying to do. She was trying to level me up. She was trying to pick me up. She saw something in me that I didn't see in me. And that's the man she married. And today, thank God, I am the person that she wanted, she always wanted. But it took her life in mine to get me to this point. I wouldn't be the man that I am without her. I know that for a fact.
She's your helper, man. It's biblical.
Yeah,
They're here to help us.
I married up, bro.
Yeah, no, I
100%.
say the same thing all the time, man. It's just a great woman by your side is only going to make you greater.
Right.
You know, and I definitely see that with you and the way you just talk about her and your relationship and your family. It's the perfect marriage. You know what I mean?
You know, I tell people around me all the time, and this is from experience, from life. Picking the right partner is crucial to your success. In every part of your life, you need to have that person that is not just supportive, but is going to challenge you mentally.
Yes.
Push you.
Accountability, all that.
All the way around.
It's a nonstop life check when it comes to having a great wife. She has to life check you.
That partnership should be that.
Yeah. And you too. It goes 50-50. We have to check them as well, but it's checks and balances that are for the greater good.
Right.
You know what I
and
mean?
there should be some friction in there.
Absolutely. Iron sharpens iron, man.
100%.
Without that, there's no success.
Agreed.
You know? All right, man. Let me see what we got here. Are there any I think we probably touched on this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Are there any practical tips you can share that has helped your process in business and in life combined?
Show me how you do anything and I'll know how you do everything. Right. So
say that again.
Show me how you do anything and I'll know how you do everything. So it is a task-oriented way of thinking. From the moment you get up, make your bed. You've completed a task. You go to the gym. Now you're ready to go. You feel like you accomplished something. Going to the gym early does a bunch of stuff. Not just physically and mentally, your mind is sharper, but also from a nutrition standpoint, you don't want to waste that workout you just had.
So now you want to eat better.
You want to eat better.
Yeah.
You want to live better. You're going to drink more water, right?
It's a chain effect.
It's a chain effect. Also, and I'm going off on a little tangent on this, but
bring it on, bro.
It challenges other people, bro. Like I'm 39 years old. I'm in the best shape of my life at 39. Right? And I say to other people that are my age, like, bro, if I could do it, you do. I got 5 kids, a wife, and I got I got a lot going on. If I could do it, you could do it.
Yeah.
But show me how you do anything, and I'll know you do everything. If you are undisciplined in some areas of your life, you're going to be undisciplined in all areas of your life.
Yes, absolutely.
And so the practical tip would be make sure that you are checking off all the boxes along the way in your day. Complete things fully. And you'll see that you've completed a lot in that day. And it all goes back to winning the day. If you do that enough,
it comes full circle right back.
If you do that enough, you're gonna have a lot of wins in your day, in your week, in your month, year after year.
Great answer, bro.
Thank
wow.
you.
I mean, I do that too, but like even there's certain things I can, switch in my life that to make me even greater. And that is just another reminder of the motivation.
And it's doing the reps.
And it's doing the reps. Exactly. You're not going to be great on the first one,
right,
but you do it 1,000 times, you're going to get better.
And then it becomes a habit.
Absolutely.
Going to the gym is part of your daily habit. Making your bed, for my kids, I tell them all the time, making your bed is just part of your routine. It's what you do. It's how you live.
Sheesh. Dude, we're moving along, man. This is great, bro. This is good stuff, man. What keeps you driven in life?
Legacy. That's an easy one too.
I love that.
Legacy, man. It keeps me up at night.
Legacy.
I obsess over legacy, and my circle is super small, Lou. Like I don't let people in. I worry about the people within the 4 walls of my home more than anything in my life.
As it should be.
As it should be. The people that are close to me, I really care about a lot. And I care about their legacy, and I care about the way that my life impacts them. I think that's all you have. When it's all said and done, you can't take money with you. You can't take a lot of things with you, but you can take with you the impact that you've had on people, and that is your legacy.
I'm not going to say anything else about that. That was great. Holy cow. Have you ever had any vices, and how did you overcome them?
Oh, man. This is like
leave it all out there if you want.
Yeah, bro. Many. I grew up without a dad and with a mom who worked 2 full-time jobs and trying to raise 3 kids, and she was never home. And so, in a rough neighborhood.
Streets raised us.
Yeah. And so I did a lot of bad things. I made a lot of terrible choices growing up. Terrible choices. That now I look back and I'm like, I can't believe that I'm not in jail or dead or diseased. And so many, many vices growing up. And by the grace of God, I'm none of those things. And by my mom's prayers, man.
Amen.
I have, and this is a recent thing, Lou. I'm telling you, man, I went through so many formations of my being over the last 33 years before this awakening, and I'm grateful for it because I needed all those things to happen. And most of the things that happened to me were self-inflicted wounds because I refused to listen to people that definitely had my best interest at heart. But I also refused to look inside and say what's broken, what needs to be repaired, where can you grow, what can you build upon, until it was too late, at least at the time, what I thought it was too late in my life. And I said, you know what, I'm going to rebuild for myself and for my children. It turned out to be the greatest thing that ever happened to me. And God, it's like the story of Job, right? God restored and then added to.
Yes, because of what he went through.
And it's amazing to me, bro, because I'm not gloating, bro, because I don't wish this upon
your story. No,
I don't wish this upon my worst enemy. But so many people kicked dirt on me, bro, when that happened, and it goes to show that and this is gonna help somebody out there. When the rubber meets the road, and tough times come, sometimes the only person you got in your corner is yourself. And you got to be able to pick yourself up and say, you know what? I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to get mad about my situation. And one step at a time, one foot in front of the other, I'm going to build myself back up. And you can have a complete restoration, not just in your personal life, in your family, like in my case, but with God, in your finances, in your career. And you could have more than you could have ever expected. If somebody would have told me 6 years ago, David, 6 years from now, don't worry, bro. You're going to have a bigger house, more money, more success, a better marriage with your wife.
Which at one point you thought was not going to happen because of the year separation.
A better relationship with God, a more transparent and real relationship with God. I would have said impossible. There's no way that it's going to happen. It was that bad. It was that bad for me. And I look back today and I have a complete just mindset of gratitude for what my life looks like because I remember what it was. And sometimes you need to have that rock bottom moment to be able to understand where you are, where you need to go, but also to keep yourself humble.
Hindsight's 20/20. You go
really
back
is,
and
man.
You see what it was. And you're like, I want to go back there.
Right.
So that's powerful, man, to be where you're at now from the bad decisions you made.
But also, the other flip side of the coin is that you never look at other people's situation with your nose in the air or with
humble,
judgmental.
Always.
Yeah.
Humble.
Because
always.
I was that guy, bro.
Yeah.
You also never look at a situation and say, bro, there's no coming back from that. It's over. It's no such thing.
There's no give up.
Right.
No give up.
If you're still standing, there's still a shot.
Great answers, bro. You were prepared. What's the next level of success in your life look like?
The next level of success. For me, there's so many things happening in my life right now that I'm super excited about. From a business standpoint, we are about to enter a season of abundance for me and my partners.
Nice.
And it's really boils down to one step at a time, one foot in front of the other, putting in the work on a daily basis, winning the day. But for me, more than that, the success of my family, my marriage, my kids, my mind, my peace, those things give me so much excitement. I honestly don't get more excited about anything else in my life.
It's motivating, man.
Than the freedom that comes from knowing, bro, I'm kicking butt. Like, I'm kicking butt because I'm doing the work. I'm doing the work of myself. I spend 30 minutes to an hour reading every day. Every day before I go to bed. I spend time to make sure that I'm right with God. Like, show me God.
Gotta have the prayer life, man.
Right. I spend time with the people that matter, my family and the friends, the people close to me. And I spend time in my business. There is no part of my life. I spend time in the gym, right? There's no part of my life that I say, you know what? I'm not checking off the boxes. I'm doing the work. And so if I'm doing the work, my expectation is that the results are going to come.
It's like a healthy quotidian lifestyle. You're doing it every day. Healthy.
Simple.
Good.
Yeah.
No room for toxicity.
No.
And I think that's the turning point to why more great things will come your way, more success. And obviously, because, you know, God's in control.
You got to be, I learned this a long time ago. Quick, slow to hire, quick to fire, right? And you use that with employees, right? Slow to hire somebody. You want to make sure they're the right fit. But as soon as they show you their true colors and they're not the right fit, you're out of here. Same thing in life. Same thing in life. Slow to let you in to my circle.
Quick to let you out.
But if you are you bring any toxicity or negativity into my life, I can't have that around me. Not at this age and not at this phase.
Yeah.
I will not. I refuse to spend any energy on anything that is not building.
That's so crazy you say that. Me and Gabriel were talking about that before the camera went on. How if the relationship is not good, whether it's business or romantic, or we let it go.
There's no time to waste.
There's no time. Exactly.
The window, Felipe says it all the time. The window is small and it's shrinking every day.
We're only here for a century, if that.
We think
that's
we're
if
here
we're
forever.
super healthy.
But when you're young, you think you're going to live forever and you have time for everything. It's not until later in life that you realize, like, I'm in the third quarter.
We gotta get to work.
There's only 5 minutes left on the clock, and then the fourth quarter, and then it's done.
It's done. Yeah.
You don't want to be in the 2-minute warning and I'm done.
I'm gonna start my legacy now.
No, it's too late.
So even who even has time for beef or like
Yeah.
Where's the
putting their
energy
time
for
and
that?
energy into something?
We don't have beef. We don't even dislike each other. We just choose to not be around each other,
no,
and
we're
that's
good.
fine.
Right.
That's fine. You know, but that comes with maturity, experience, and keeping that healthy lifestyle.
A lot of people don't learn that, though.
It takes
Ever.
a long time, and they don't get. And then by the time they get it, they're like, "Oh man, like."
Bro, we are obsessed with drama, bro. Look
Yeah.
at all the shows that are hot right now.
Yeah,
Reality TV shows.
It's the social
drama.
it's the social like spectrum that we're living in.
Yeah.
Where it's like, let's promote the ignorance, let's not promote the intelligence. Intelligence doesn't get you paid, the ignorance gets you paid. And it's time to change the narrative.
What you feed will grow.
My man, yeah.
That's it, man.
What event in your life shifted your thought process to want to be more successful?
The pandemic.
First time I heard that one.
Pandemic
Explain.
woke me up, man. It made, pre-pandemic, right? I'm on top of the world financially in my career, making money, just bought a huge house. All good. Pandemic hits. Nobody's safe.
Nothing's
Everybody
moving.
goes home. I'm sorry. We don't have, a job for you right now. All of us. I don't care who you were. You all got sent home.
Yeah.
You're on unemployment. So here I was. I just bought a huge house. I sold my house. I was in the process of selling my current house. And I was freaking out. Now I'm unemployed. I don't know when this lockdown is going to end. I don't know what's going on. And I'm at the mercy of the government and another human being to tell me when I can come back to earn money, to feed my kids and my family. That changed my life. And that is when I said, I will never be at the mercy of another person for my ability to earn, keep my family safe, and keep myself on track. And from that moment forward, I was like, all right, I'm going to build and build and build. And since then, we've built 4 companies. We're killing it. And we're learning as we go. But growth has been happening every month.
I want to get into that. I have one more question, but then you're reading my mind, because now that was the genesis of 1, 2, 3, buy a car and all that. One more question. We're going to dive right into that real quick. What's the last thing you bought that changed your life?
The last thing that I bought that changed my life, this house.
Wow.
You know what's crazy, man? I grew up poor. And when I say grew up poor, and I said this before, I got to elaborate on this, man. My brothers would be embarrassed. My mom would be embarrassed.
Roaches and cereal boxes?
Bro, roaches, I could deal with that. No big deal. We lived, I'm the youngest of 3 brothers. Me, my mother, and my 2 brothers in 1 bedroom. I had a mattress on the floor, no heat, and no hot water, right? My brother, he's a year older than me, slept in the same bed as my mom. Bro, through high school. People don't know this about me.
Man. Wow, through high school.
I had a lot of friends in high school. Everybody knew me.
Yeah.
Popular, the whole thing. But nobody knew this was happening. Okay? My oldest brother, same, sleeping in that bedroom. And so we were poor. All right. So if you would have told me at that time that I'd be able to provide the life that I have for my kids, I would have said you're nuts. But this house has brought our families together. It's a place where we can fellowship It's a place where we can live
Celebrate,
life,
yes.
celebrate. It's amazing.
And inspires.
It inspires. It gives an air of safety.
Yes.
It changes your life and your mindset.
It's surreal you're saying that because, me and my wife have that same luxury that the family comes over to our house.
Yes.
And they feel good. It's like Thanksgiving. Here, we got all this food. We're going to go in the back, put the, have a cigar, hang out.
Yeah.
We'll put the fire pit on, whatever you want to do. And it feels good because they see that we're doing good.
Yeah.
And it motivates and inspires them. And they know that we're here for them, no matter how good or bad they're doing.
It's awesome.
And not that it provides a crutch, but it provides support.
Yeah.
We're here, we love you, and we're going to continue to do the right thing, to grow, Lord willing, and continue to be that example for our family.
It's exactly how I feel.
And I'm telling you, it's so crazy that we have that same parallel route.
That is
you know what I
insane.
mean?
Yeah.
Man, Dave, this has been a great pod so far.
It really
man.
has been.
I mean, we
You're
can
doing
go
a great job.
No, thank you. Likewise. Are you kidding me? We're rocking and rolling, man. I want to get into this real quick before we wrap up. Obviously, all the business ventures you have going on that we haven't had a chance to really speak about. So, we got 123buyacar.com, which you co-founded with Felipe. So we got that.
Partners, yeah.
We have I always mess this up.
So IMM is Impact.
IMM Create.
So IMM Create is our website.
Impact Marketing and Management.
That's it.
I did my research.
You got it. You got it.
So we got that. And I see here that, let's talk about 123 Buy a Car first.
Sure.
Because this intrigues me. Because, I've always been around the car business, but I never sold cars. But I knew a lot of people that sell cars. And it dawned on me when I was thinking about our podcast. What's your take on the BDC right now in the car business? The reason I asked you that is because do you think it's archaic in today's world with the direct-to-consumer platforms that social media provides? Or is social media platforms the new BDC?
I think it's a little both. I think the car business in general is archaic. I think we live in 1995.
Thank you.
I think consumer behavior is ease of doing business. I can buy a sweater from my couch and then it's here tomorrow. I can buy groceries right now and then an hour from now it's on my front steps or McDonald's or whatever. Literally anything.
Yeah.
Except a car, right? A car, you got to go to the dealership and deal with the guy and then his manager and the guy behind the glass and the curtain and all that stuff.
And then you got
I got to go speak to my manager.
financing.
Right. And so you're there 7 hours.
Yeah.
And you want to rip your hair out and you're angry. And buying a car is momentous. It's exciting. Everybody loves to go buy a car. Everybody hates the car buying process. That's where 123 Buy a Car came from.
So how do you guys improve that process in your business?
So we have partnerships with many, many dealerships, both new and used. Our goal is to make the car buying process as frictionless as possible. Literally, you can look at a car and put in a lead or call us. And let's say Felipe answers that call and says, I see you're interested in that Toyota Camry. And you could literally have that car in your driveway by tomorrow and you never step foot in the dealership. Credit application, the whole deal is done, soup to nuts.
Direct to consumer.
Direct to consumer, price is negotiated, pre-negotiated, so that you always get the best deal. And we tell our consumers all the time, do the homework. Go try to get the deal. You're not going to get a better deal than this. And a lot of times they do, and they come back to us and say, oh, you know what, you were right. I'll take the deal. So we're trying to make it so simple that it's a no-brainer.
That's a pandemic-proof business.
It is.
Because now you're cutting out the middleman, so to speak. You're making it very comfortable for the client to get their car, stress-free, drama-free, no back and forth BS with the sales manager, blah, blah, blah. And it's profitable.
Well, the best part about it, honestly, for me, is that it's not just a B2C. It's not just business to consumer, direct to consumer. It's also a B2B. I care about the dealerships. I come from the dealership world. I don't want the dealerships to go away. I think it's important. They employ a lot of people. They pay taxes. They do a lot of great things and have done for a long time. We're trying to make it easy for that dealership who doesn't understand the way consumers want to buy, help them do business in the 21st century. We want to help bring you along. We want to help you sell more cars to maybe outside customers that aren't in your market. So that's important to us as well.
I'm loving it, man. And I think this is the wave of the future. I think you're on the precipice of this. You're one of the lead companies doing something like this. And I think it's something that is, kind of ahead of its time.
Yeah, we're not
You know?
alone. There's several different companies out there, and we have been blessed to have partnerships. I said it before, we can all win. We have partnerships, strategic partnerships, not only with dealers, but other e-commerce companies that are helping us make this happen. And so, I think that is important, is making sure, look, this is all new territory.
Collaboration.
How can we all win? How can we make this happen for the consumer?
Awesome, brother.
Yeah.
Awesome, man.
Thank you, man.
Now, get my second question about this, and this is more kind of like logistics, right? Has supply chain issues hurt the car business? I know pricing is volatile, and integrity is non-existent, in my opinion, in today's car market.
Yeah.
So how does 123 buy a car? And if you want to chime in, you could just. Well, how does 123 buy a car navigate and stay customer service driven, with costs going up and lack of customer service being more prevalent in today's car world?
With honesty and transparency. Most consumers that are looking to buy a car, both new and used, know exactly what you just said. Excuse me. And so they already know up front that this is happening, but even if they don't, we let them know. Like, there's very limited supply, and because there's limited supply and it's still the high demand, the pricing is fluctuating. So consumers always feel more comfortable when they don't feel. Grant Cardone says, everybody wants to buy, but they don't want to feel sold. And so when you are not pitching them, when you're not the gimmick, like, oh, just come down to the showroom, when you're giving them everything up front, I feel like you bring down their guard and their defenses, because I'm in this with you, man. Like, I'm not the dealer. I'm trying to find you what you're looking for, and this is what's out there. So let me present the best options for you.
Know your business, know your customer, tell a story that resonates.
That's it, bro.
That's marketing.
I've heard that somewhere.
I think you said that. And I love that, because what's his name? It's a motivational speaker. I can't remember his name, but it'll get back to me. He said there's a method in sales, and I unconsciously, I do fences, I sell fences. I unconsciously do this, and I didn't know it was actually a name for it. It's called scratching a client's record. And what you do is you're speaking to someone, and I don't know if you do the same thing I do, but as I'm talking to a client in the first 15, 20 seconds, I'm processing everything about them. It's like Terminator. And I'm seeing what they like, what they don't like, what their personality is. And, you take it away from a sale and you make it personable. Oh, that's I sell fences. I go to somebody's house. Oh, that's a nice Tesla, man. I've been looking to get one. How is it drive?
Sure.
Scratch the record.
Yep.
They forget it's a sale. They're like, oh yeah, well I got this like 2 years ago, but I'm paying $700 a month. I actually got to call. Blah, blah, blah. What were we here for again? Oh yeah, the fence. Scratching the record. And I feel that you do that. With that quote that you said resonates with me, because I feel it's the same thing. So has that made you successful in sales, scratching the record, getting personable with the client?
Yeah, I think the best salesmen out there are the ones who are real with their approach. It doesn't matter what the sign is outside, whether you're selling fences or sweaters or cars. People will always buy from people. And so they want to feel like the person that is sitting across from them understands their pain points. A consumer for buying cars, their pain point is trust. I don't trust anything you're saying. You're a liar. You're trying to get over on me. You're trying to steal from me and make as much profit as you can. Why don't they feel that way with Starbucks, who's also seeking the same thing?
Selling $10 cups of coffee.
Right. And seeking the highest profitability possible, all that great stuff. It is because of marketing. It is because of your messaging. It is because of the way that you are delivering that message. I think there's something to say about, looking somebody in the eye and making them understand where you're coming from. Harder to do online.
Yes.
Right? It's an interesting, sales in the 21st century is interesting, because you hardly have to speak to anybody anymore. In fact, when I call somewhere and I need something, at the moment a person gets on the phone, I'm almost irritated. Like, can't you make this easier?
Yeah, because we're so accustomed to just everything being autonomous.
Right.
Nothing is more, nobody talks to people no more.
Right.
It's insane.
Which is why podcasting is growing in popularity, which is why video is very popular. You need to have some sort of way to deliver and connect the message that you want to deliver and connect with your consumer. And that's you have to get a little bit more creative these days.
Brother, I mean, everything is just on the head, and we were sharing a brain here, A couple more questions, we'll wrap up. I want to talk about the immcreate.com. First of all, what is it? What does it do? And the 3-prong question: what marketing, and management techniques can make a company successful in today's climate?
Yeah. IMM, Impact Marketing and Management, is all about marketing any business that you have and getting you the most amount of eyeballs on whatever you're doing. Sales is attention. Marketing is attention. How can you create the most attention possible for your service or your product? That is essentially what IMM is. So it's bringing attention to whatever it is that you're selling and then converting that attention into a sale, into a paying customer, no matter what business it is. And so it's both. It is, listen, I'm your in-house marketing team at whatever budget you have, but I'm also going to train your in-house sales staff on how to convert that attention into a sale.
Okay, so is it like a programs like for $500 we'll do this, for $1,000 we'll do this? Is it
it can be
one-on-one hand?
It can be. So we're very flexible.
Gotcha.
So if you were to come to me and say, listen, I sell fencing and I want to grow my business, I need an online presence, or I need somebody to come in and help my staff convert, or whatever the case may be. I need somebody to teach my people how to resonate and how to connect better. We do all of that. I don't like to put ourselves in a box because every business is different. I know that from experience, right? So today, this might be the focus, and by next week, it might change. So you want to be flexible and nimble enough to say, what are the pain points right now? What are you dealing with right now? We've overcome the attention part and the leads part. Now, why aren't we converting? Let's talk about it.
Mm-hmm. What's lacking?
Right. What's lacking? What can we help?
Let's convert that.
Yeah. And so that's where that's coming from. From our standpoint, selling in the 21st century, you got to be on it. You got to be finger on the pulse of what's going on, reading, understanding. Right now, I every day for the last 2 weeks, I've been having full-blown arguments almost with businesses about NFTs, about the metaverse, about what's happening, and looking 2 years down the line, 3 years down the line, 5 years down the line, and being ahead of the game.
Crypto, yeah.
Right. Because by the time you have to do it, you're behind.
Yeah.
So you got to plan ahead.
A minute wasted in today's time is like a year wasted. 100%. I'm telling you, it's moving so fast.
It really is.
So staying on the pulse of it with everything that's where the successful people will continue.
Yeah.
Innovation. Innovation. Absolutely. And that I mean, looking at your businesses, the IMM Create, the 1 2 3 Buy a Car, I mean, everything all kind of, collaborates together with the win the day attitude, and with you're talking about Napoleon Hill mind state. Everything you're selling and creating and doing, it's all part of the formula. Well, it's who you are.
Yeah.
So you're selling yourself basically, but you're also providing a service that's transparent and relatable.
Sure.
So I think that's awesome, and that's why you're gonna win, because you're practicing what you believe, but you're doing it for yourself and for monetary value, but you're helping people.
Yeah.
And that takes me to my last point, the host of Win the Day podcast. So this right here is the passion project for you.
Yes.
Which is, let's change the perception of Latinos. Let's hold men accountable. Let's get the process of we can't do something anymore to that, yes, we can do it. So what inspired you to create that podcast, and what message do you want to convey to your listeners?
I think we can all win. I think there's a huge portion of our population and communities that truly don't believe they can, don't have the makeup for it, don't have the skill set for it, don't have the tools at their disposal, or just don't have the mindset to think like it's possible because they've never seen it happen. And I think that this podcast, for me, if it inspires one person and motivates one person to say, hey, I'm going to get up in the morning and make it happen, then it's worth it to me.
Sounds just like me.
That's
what I'm doing with this.
That's what it's about, right?
That's what it's about.
Each one reach one. And if if you can reach one person and duplicate yourself in that one person, then guess what? That one person is probably going to duplicate themselves in the next person, in their children, in their family. And now you're inspiring. Now you're duplicating. Now before you know it, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years of that, how many people have you impacted? How many lives have you changed? How many families have you blessed and leveled up with just a mindset? Yeah. A mindset is powerful. You can literally change the trajectory of finances, physical,
family
fitness,
history,
spiritual, everything. Yeah. Starts in your mind. That is why what you're doing is powerful, man. There's no price tag on what you're doing. The impact that it can have on people and the reach. the reach that you
press a
have,
button, it's everywhere.
it's all over the world.
Yeah, it's a
right?
ripple effect.
Right. Legacy.
Yeah.
And so
You see how it all combines?
That's
It's all like a big cake. You got all the
Yes.
ingredients, and it's gonna just it's gonna stand tall.
100%. And that's the inspiration, is that it reaches somebody out there every single day.
Man, David, man. I mean, I'm blown away by this conversation. I mean, I feel like we gotta do a part 2 maybe
Now
down the line.
You got to come on my podcast.
Yeah, I got to come on your. Yeah, we're gonna make that happen. We're gonna talk offline. But dude, I'm thankful. Number one, that you came on here and you shared your story. I'm thankful for the success you've had in your, not just your personal life, but in your business life and your spiritual life.
Thank you.
And I think the best is yet to come from David Zuniga.
Let's go.
I honestly mean that. And
so.
you're planting those seeds right now. You're doing the right things. We're avoiding the toxicity, and we're building legacy. So with that right there, I feel that you have put together the chemistry to succeed. And I'm excited to see what's going to happen in the future.
Listen, I think guys like you are going to make it happen. Giving guys like me an opportunity and a voice to spread that message is important, and I appreciate everything you're doing as well.
Brother, thank you so much for doing this, man. I really appreciate it. I mean, we're wrapped up, man. Do you have anything else you want to share with the people out there? Anything you want to promote before we wrap this up?
No, man. The only thing I would say is, listen, if you're out there and you're listening to this, need any kind of help of any kind, business, non-business, family, personal, you got Lou here and you got myself willing to help in anything we can.
Reach out, man. We're just trying to set the next footprint in the sand for the next Latino.
We're not just talking about it, we're about it.
We're making it happen, brother. Win the day. And discipline.
That's it.
That's it. Well, guys, that's a wrap on episode 007 of I'm an Artist, Not a Salesman podcast. Make sure that you click subscribe, like, hit the link in the bio, and please, share the message, share the story. More powerful things coming down the road. We thank each and every one of you for checking us out. We'll see you next time. Have a great one.
I wouldn't have composure to get it back together. I don't want closure, this book can't be over. I can write a chapter in a second, I expose you. Tell you my problems, brag about success. You're always there when I'm down and I'm stressed. My mind is a thought away, I'll be in outer space. Sometimes it's just a throwaway, but either way, I never go away. Through rejections and comments suggested, you stay manifested. I never lose a step, I gain about 50. I break through the wall steadily and quite swiftly. You can't break my spirit, I'm a self-starter. Don't ever let me go, passion, I need you, mama. Don't ever go.
I need you by my side. Without you I would die. If there's no you, I don't have hell. I need you more than life itself. Don't ever go. No, baby, no, baby.
No, baby,
No, baby, don't ever go.
no, baby. Don't ever go. Never go astray. And if you go AWOL, I'll never be the same. The love of a woman is the strength of a man. Keeps me on my toes, defines who I am. My soulmate, checkmate, no more playing. I'm thinking like a grown-up, mommy, I'ma own up to the mistakes that I done in the past. Blame my mind, not my heart, cause I never used that. All these other chicks, they just wanna get close to me, cause they see me as a ticket, I'm the lottery. And I can change their life, but I'd rather not, cause I got my wife, and she's rather hot. And they rather opt to be on my jock, but I got common sense, I don't need a flock. All these birds mad cause they ain't got a nest, but I will never leave you, mommy, cause you are the best.
Don't ever go. I need you by my side. Without you I would die. If there's no you, I don't have hell. I need you more than life itself. Don't ever go.
No, baby,
No, baby.
no, baby,
No, baby.
never
Don't
leave,
ever
baby.
go.
No, baby, I got you. Don't ever go. Never disappear. I love you, my dear. Am I being clear? Don't become a trend. Learn to reinvent. I'm your #1 apprentice. I'm learning to accept the changes you incurred. Your speech has slurred, but I'ma bring it back to school.